Hi, I'm sitting here with Miss Keisha Hinton, and I'm about to conduct an interview. I want to first ask, do I have your permission to record you and conduct this interview?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
She is a newborn hearing screener at Southside Regional Hospital in Petersburg, Virginia. How are you doing, Keisha?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Uh, First, I'm just going to dive right into these questions. What would a typical day be like in your work setting?
I would enter the hospital every day around 8:30.
Okay.
I take up the elevator to the nursery.
Mm-hmm.
I go into the nursery. I go and check on the NICU babies.
Okay.
I find out who needs a hearing screen in order to go home.
All right.
I grab my charts. I grab all the demographic information, the stickers. I head to my office. I log in all of the demographic information onto the program, and I head out into all of the rooms individually to start screening for the day.
Sounds like a very eventful day.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do people in the job say they like the most about their job, and what do they say they like the least about it?
The most, I would say, the interaction with patients.
Okay.
You meet people from all walks of life, and I can't say that's something that people, from my knowledge, really love about the job. Okay. Especially when you don't know about other people's culture, right, and child rearing. They learn different things. Yeah. One thing they do not like is the hours. A lot of people are working overnight. A lot of people are missing family events, time that they could be spending raising their younger children, and that's what I hear the most complaints about.
Right. I can imagine that could be a little strenuous, especially on your family schedule, not seeing family and
Absolutely.
Things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Definitely. What attracted you to this type of work?
I'm now 22. I'll be 23 next month.
Happy almost birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I've been working with children since I was 15.
Oh, wow. So you've been doing this for a while.
Long time.
Okay.
And my last job, I worked in a nursery where I took care of newborn babies once moms went to maternity leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really loved working with the new baby, so I tried to get a job in a hospital for that clinical experience.
And at 22 years old? Okay. Right, you sound ambitious. How much education or training is required to qualify in this job market to meet legal certification?
Definitely some college. You have a lot of it's very serious with confidentiality. With patients, you could get a patient that you knew in high school, and you got to be able to have that maturity level to understand how serious that is. Right. So I would definitely say lots of training, right, and definitely some college.
Cool.
You have to have some college.
Cool. Gotcha.
They're not taking people without college.
Understandable. How does one advance in the company that you work for?
I would say doing your job and going above and beyond.
Okay.
We have a rule: you never miss a baby.
Wow.
So if you can do that, that's great. But if absolutely, but if all of your babies are passing, none of them are failing, right, you are referring them to audiologists. That's something that stands out, right, because sometimes you have to pick a baby up. Sometimes you have to rock a baby because they have fluid in their ears. But you got to do what you got to do to make sure your baby passes. Right. So that's something that would definitely help you advance in the company that I work for.
That's beautiful. What is the base annual salary, for your job at entry, mid, and then the higher level?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you about the nurses I work with because I work part-time casual. Right. Being as though we don't know the rate of how many babies might be born, I can have 14 babies one day and I can have 0 babies one day. So, the nurses I know at entry level, they're coming in at about $40,000 a year. Okay. And they can make up to close to 6 figures if they're back there delivering the babies when the doctors can't make it, okay, or doing just about everything a doctor would do. Right. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool. Are there any bonuses that are given for your performance?
Absolutely. Like I said about being able to make your babies pass. Right. You definitely always would get holiday and that extra time and a half pay. But if you are actually doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're making the company look good, that's bonus worthy.
Okay. Great. So does somebody like me have a reasonable chance in getting a job in this field?
Absolutely. You're a very good communicator. You're easy to talk to. You're relatable, and that's what you need to go in there with the patient. That's a new mom.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's good to know. It's good to know. What would you say are the top personality traits that someone would need to be, need to possess to be successful at this job?
Maturity.
Okay.
And patience. I can go in with the baby and it can take 2 seconds, or I can be in there 30 minutes.
Right.
So patience is definitely key.
Definitely. I guess, and I think that really goes with like working with any type of child.
Absolutely.
Definitely, because they like to. Some like to play,
exactly.
even at a young age, and
absolutely,
yeah. So,
and some like to not play.
Right, exactly. Like to get straight to it.
Right.
I definitely understand you.
Right.
Describe your most meaningful work experience.
My most meaningful work experience, having a patient who was on drugs. Of course, when I get my charts, I know that some of the babies might possibly be drug babies. But when you meet a patient that just has went through the ringers in life, and you just kind of are like, wow. And they still love their baby. Some people just can't cope. Some people don't understand the importance of mental health. And they do all these other things as outlets to that. And I guess having patients that are on drugs and actually talking to them, and that'd be the...
I think it humanizes them as well.
Absolutely. Because you think going in like, wow, this lady doesn't care about her baby.
Right.
And usually that's not the case.
Right. It's always like circumstances that definitely you don't know what the next person is going through until they give you some type of insight, or so definitely.
That's why communication is key.
Right. Going back to what you were right. Definitely. Describe a time when you saw a problem as a potential opportunity, and what did you do?
Problem. I was told, okay, well, this is when I first started working. I didn't have my badge yet. One of the nurses would not let me into the nursery because I didn't look old enough to work at a hospital. Although she seen me on the camera and she, I made it very clear who I was and that she had seen me before. But I turned it into a positive because I was able to build a relationship with her after that. I was able to let her know, I'm sorry I look young, but this is who I am. This is my experience. And this is I'll be working at this hospital now. And now we have a very good relationship. And I'm able to talk to her about patients when needed.
That shows a level of maturity as well.
Absolutely.
Another character trait you touched back on.
Absolutely.
Yes. Tell me about that toughest decision that you had to make in the last 6 months.
My toughest, I'm in graduate school, also while I work, and my toughest decision was whether to sacrifice my well-being for my future.
That sounds like, and going to school alone is difficult. But going to school and working, because you let me know this is not your only job.
Right.
But then on top of the fact, it's graduate school.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can definitely see where that can be like
a lot of
you have to weigh out your options. Definitely.
And sometimes I just go without sleep.
And you know what? I understand. Some of what, not all of what, but some of what you're experiencing. I'm in school myself and working full time myself, so I definitely there's some sleepless nights, but
absolutely,
I feel like and especially knowing you, success is going to come, and we're gonna look back on this and like, oh, you remember when we were up until?
I know, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get what you want,
right? Exactly.
Where you want to be, and you're taking those steps.
Yes,
and that's all that matters.
You do what you have to do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And finally, my last question. Tell me about a time you knew you were right, but still had to follow directions or guidelines.
I was written up for not doing a procedure right that I knew that I was doing right, rather than being combative. I took the write-up and I took a different approach to letting that person know that I did the correct procedure.
Right.
A lot of people would have, attacked because that's a write-up.
Right.
That's on your record.
Right.
That can affect you in, having a job.
Right.
But I figured I need to learn how to communicate because this is not going to be the first time something like this happens.
Right. Definitely.
So I took that and I went around that person until it was solved before I talked to that person directly.
Definitely. Oh, that it also shows maturity on your that we touch bases on maturity and communication a lot throughout this interview.
Absolutely.
But it does show a high level of maturity because 22 isn't young. Well, it's young, but it's not not that young to we're at the point now in our lives where we have to take responsibility and take ownership and be mature young adults. So I think
those steps.
Yeah, and so are you. So I want to say thank you for allowing me to record you and do this interview, and thank you for your insight. I do appreciate it.
And I answered these to the best of my ability, and I hope that I answered them how you need.
Well, yes, and yes, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.